Whoops. Didn't have that terribly well lined. So, okay, this will be an interesting one. Alright. Whew. Right. We'll do that later. Now we're just gonna... Oh, did I just press a button accidentally on this rather disgustingly difficult user interface? I don't know, it's hard to tell sometimes. Maybe disgusting's not the word, more like dreadful or a nuisance of a user interface. Konica Minolta indeed. Fuckwits. Let's see how we go making this silly thing do anything good. So our original is back of a, where is it? Oh, we got it folded back. So I'm just trying to show you the cover. It's basically, I think that's not the cover. Sorry folks. Now I'm just going to keep this machine in play. I just want to show the front cover. I like to show the front cover of everything that I do with this. So I just had to grab it. But that's it. Herald Property Sydney. This is a Chinese real estate paper. Now, from judging from that, we're probably going to make it 141.4. It's going to be a movement piece. We're going to try and avoid those lines there, but we can't avoid the lines around that property, which is obviously being featured by what's known as Black Diamonds Property Concierge, or whatever. It's bullshit. It's all fucking capitalism gone up too far. The love of money, the love of not caring about people who can't afford the real estate. Everything's expensive. Even places that were formerly like working class areas like the western suburbs and also the inner city that used to be considered rough and grubby and grungy, full of graffiti and shit. Well, now they've become expensive. So there's nearly no escaping the expense of real estate. The real estate industry's really become a capitalist-driven industry, and people who can afford the properties, often multiple properties, are rich fucks. And you wonder why. Because of the lack of compassion from the real estate agents, why homelessness has become such a huge issue in Australia. I don't know why it has to be that way. If only these real estate people could go back to the old days, you know, like everything having a certain value instead of overvaluing things and gentrifying things all the time. You know, why can't the western suburbs just be the western suburbs that I used to know? My dad used to criticise the western suburbs. He used to say that if you don't do your schoolwork, you'll end up living in the western suburbs. Well, fuck that, I haven't. I did live in the inner west for a moment, in the place called Leichhardt, but I never lived in western suburbs. But there's nothing wrong with the western suburbs. The main problem I have with that is the amount of heat and cold in that area, because basically I can't afford to heat and cool where I live, so I have to go without heating and cooling, and that you can't do that really well out west, because hey, you're just going to end up sweltering so much you end up dying, or freezing so much you're going to end up dying. So you can't really live in the western suburbs without an air conditioner, and I can't afford a fucking air conditioner, so I have to live in the more posher areas in a housing department, which is pretty good. But it would still be nice if I didn't have to, you know, if I could afford the heating and cooling. But that's not the way the world has become. Everything's become expensive. The electricity industries are full of shitheads who love their money. So there's all these shitheads running everything, all these assholes, as I derogatorily call them. I have no fucking respect for the rich. The rich can go fuck themselves. They can go to fucking hell and buggery as far as I'm concerned. I've got no fucking patience with them and their fucking ideas about making money and money and money. The photocopier industry is indeed a huge part of capitalism that I've been directly attacking on on social media and shit. So I've got no respect, not even for them. And I love photocopiers. Well, do I really? I just wonder. It's a bit of a love-hate relationship, I think it could be described as. And the real estate is just so ridiculously expensive. I just wish we didn't have to make it. It didn't have to be that way. Now, that looks really nice. I mean, in the past, some places that were like shacks used to be in prime real estate, and I always known that the fucking developers can't keep their hands off anything. They've got to have their hands on something. They've always got to take everything that's of value. They can't just leave it there. They just can't. They just had to take the back part of Mona Vale, right, and turn it into these huge, ugly housing estates. But it was beautiful because it, like, a bit of the countryside was still retained. You could see paddocks. You had horses. You had even a bathtub. You know, typically in the country areas, like a bathtub filled with water, probably to feed for the horses to drink. Now it's all gone. It's all been ripped apart. All the, and the beautiful greenhouses that used to be there, all been torn apart by these fucking ass developers, and no one's able to fucking buy back into that area. So you had these people who owned these remaining crofts. They look like crofts. Well, these croft owners had to give up because obviously the developers were throwing money at them, and they just wouldn't take no for an answer. And capitalism is can be deadly as well as demeaning. It's a horrible force. It's got to be destroyed. Capitalism must go, folks. We must work together to destroy it. But how do we destroy it, though? How do we destroy this juggernaut that we all have to pay for everything? You pay for essentials. You pay for all sorts of shit. You can't even get away. You can't get away from it, even for a moment. It's advertised on TV, on the radio, in your mailbox, everywhere. It's fucked. But this looks nice. I think now we can call it quits.